What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the official Cliffy J, and I'm back with another video. And today, I'm gonna be giving you guys another Big Brother ranking, and this will just be my player ranking for Big Brother 27 now that it is over. And I want to give a small disclaimer because y'all already know how we do these player ranking videos. It's based off of their gameplay on the season, not really about them as an overall player because the list could be a little different. And as you guys probably can hear, my microphone is not very good. It is not the microphone that I usually would use because for some reason my mic is broken. So we have to roll with the punches until I get a new mic. Sorry for the audio quality. It is not the level that I would like it to be at, but I still want to push this video out for you guys. Let's get it. We got 17 people to rank, so let's go ahead and get to number 17. And at number 17, I really debated real hard, but I went ahead and put Amy at number 17. She just showed me no good gameplay. Her and Ashley were on the bottom of the game at the beginning, and even though Rachel had her back, she still didn't trust Rachel, and she kind of was blaming Rachel for some of her shortcomings, which I really didn't understand. She wasn't a good challenge competitor. She was voted out, even though really it would have benefited a lot of players to keep her in the game. So I got to have her at number 17. And at number 16, I've got Kelly. And she was just bad at everything except mental comps. And that's honestly why I got her above Amy. They both aren't really good at any facet of the game, but at least Kelly has mental comps. She also was just simply terrible socially. She was kind of weird. She was mean and she liked being mean. She liked being like disrespectful about certain things. So like, yeah, it's not really very high I could put her on this list. She played a terrible game. And at number 15, I've got Zay. I like the activity while he was on the block. And he did kind of have some alliances being made with the Burger Boys and stuff like that. But the fact that he was even being able to turn against Keanu, they were able to turn him against Keanu, and he was like so lax going on the block to start. Like that's the reason that he was even nominated. And people like were suspicious of him from the jump. Like, I don't know. It's not really his fault, but I gotta have him this low. First boot, it wasn't really much he could really show me, so I got him this low. But I like the activity while he was on the block. And at number 14, I've got Catherine. And her social definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Her one-sided beef with Ashley was bad. Her closeness to Riley, like near dependency. Her hatred for Rachel. All of that was bad. I will say she was moderately competitive, nothing special, and she was kind of intense, which is good because Morgan was intense, and we see how that worked. But she was intense, I guess, in a bad way. I will say this: she did have an alliance with Lauren. Probably because there were only two white girls on the same age, other than Ava. But she had an alliance with Lauren, and she played okay. I'll give her that. She played okay, even though her game seemed non-existent. I don't really think she was very active, and most of the stuff that came out of her mouth was like negative. Like I think most of it came out of her mouth was negative. And at number 13, I've got Keanu, and I wanted to have Keanu higher. I know he's AFP. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I look at the overall, like all the facets of the game, and he only had physical. He wasn't good socially, terrible reads, didn't have good strategic making, threw people under the bus that actually had his back in Rachel at points. Not saying she always had his back, but she had his back at points. Nominated Vince, even though you still want to work with Vince. It was a lot of weird decisions that would have, I think, made sense outside of the game. But in the game, a lot of his decision making was just poor. A lot of the stuff he did was just poor. But he was insanely good at challenges, and he was well rounded in the challenges. So that's why I got him this high. And by the end of it, he had an okay strategic head on his shoulders and a decent read on the game. And at number 12, I've got Adrian. He was way too loyal, pretty sloppy in his gameplay because of that, too honest. But I will say he was a decent player socially. Didn't have great threat management because he was like outward about him being a good challenge competitor, and he showed that. I will say this: he did get Mickey to spill a lot of her game to him, and he had a good relationship with Ashley. He had a good relationship with Zach, Will, Vince, Kelly, and Keanu. So he was a solid player, even though it's more of a potential thing than actual action that we seen. He was just too loyal and too honest. I will say that. Not too loyal, but definitely too honest. And at number 11, I've got Jimmy. Another one with a lot of potential. He had potential to play a great game, but Morgan mistakenly figured out his snaky behavior. So as of right now, it's just potential. He's a little bit too messy, a little too dramatic, throwing Keanu and Kelly under the bus, and then trying to make a fake alliance with them while giving them some information that could, bode negatively for your game. Throwing Mickey and Morgan under the bus to Kat and Lauren, like softly doing that, also wasn't smart. And the constant rehearsed acts that he was putting on, I think, probably had a negative perception for him in the house for sure. And at number 10, I've got Mickey. Her early gameplay was really impressive, and that's really why she is so high, because she could have set herself up really well to be alongside Vince, Ashley, Morgan, and Ava. And those are all people that made it extremely deep in the game, the actual Final Four. She could have been there instead of Ava, honestly. She had so many close allies, and I really think the power went to her head, and she kind of lost it. She had Ava and Will, Ashley and Rachel on one side. Then she also had Zach, Vinny, Morgan on the other side, which kind of she obviously got them more from Morgan, but she had a good relationship with Zach for sure. She could have really done her best to actively get the two groups together, but she did the opposite. She sabotaged them and caused a lot of distrust. Her issues with Rachel, her issues with Vinny, like the smoke she kind of had for Rachel just did not work very well, and it led to a lot of mistrust between her and all of these people that she was working with, and that really did negatively for her game. And she was extremely delusional, thinking she could work with Riley after taking his HOH, thinking Riley loved her and stuff like that. Like, bro, you're crazy. And at number 9, I've got Lauren. And she's just definitely like the definition of a minion. Seriously, Vince ruined her game, but she also put all her eggs in that basket for her to get her game ruined by Vince. And she also had bad HOHs both times, nominating Adrian, nominating Will, nominating people that at least she had alliances with, and then turning around and ruining her relationship with Keanu at a point where it was clear that Vince did not have her best interest, even though Vince was loyal to her and going to take her deeper in the game. Didn't make a lot of sense. I just think that she probably should have aligned with Keanu rather than Kelly, because Keanu had a little bit more sway socially, even though he had no sway socially, and he was better in competitions and a bigger threat. And at number 8, I've got Ava. She was pretty likable in the house from like the beginning to the middle until she started to have like some random smoke for Rachel. But her effort levels were like so low, and she didn't try hard enough for me. And like I said, just like Mickey and Kelly, she just came off kind of mean for no reason. I didn't really like that. And at number 7, I have Zach. And a pre jury boot that made a terrible, colossal mistake in not using his power. Oh, maybe it was overconfidence, maybe it was anger, I don't know, but it was a bad decision. But at the end of the day, this cast sucks. Like, genuinely, I think this was a terrible cast gameplay wise. Also, I think that he did really good at gaining like allies. All of the girls like loved him, it seemed like. And I will give him that. He was extremely liked by the women. He had a decent amount of male allies too. On top of that, he was a solid challenge competitor. Like, he was a good player. I think he played a decent game as long as he was there. If he wouldn't have made the mistake he made, he definitely would have been a front runner, just like Vince. Like, after that, he would have been a front runner to win the game. And at number 6, I've got Riley. And I didn't want to put him this high, but it just makes sense. He only went home because Rachel won HOH. Like, and refused not to like be scary. Like, she made a big move that truly benefited the trajectory of the game. Everyone in the house like liked him. A lot of them loved him. Like, at first, everybody was including him into alliances. Like, if he would have been a more active player, he wouldn't have even went home that week. Genuinely, if he'd have been more active before that, he would have been closer to a lot of the players that liked him and wanted to make alliances with him and all that. I just think that he had random beef with players that didn't do anything to him, like Rachel and Will and stuff like that. And Mickey, stole his HOH. And that matters. Like, I would have him lower if that didn't happen, but he has HOH stolen, had to be on the block, was able to win 2 challenges in 1 week without winning a veto, which is crazy. And then He had a showmance with Catherine, good relationship with Lauren, Keanu, a final two with Vince that wasn't fully valid, obviously, because he was against Morgan. But if it wasn't against Morgan, he stays against most other people a lot of the time, especially with the fact that he had that relationship with Vince, Keanu, Lauren, Catherine, like Kelly. Like he had a solid game socially. He had a solid game strategically. Well, no, not solid strategically. He was good physically, good socially, and he played those two parts pretty well. So I gotta have him this high. And he was slightly screwed a little bit. You never know. He would maybe get Mickey out or get Rachel out, and then he wouldn't even have to deal with that smoke after that. You know what I'm saying? And at number five, we have, and then I will say this: the whole top five is all judges. I know people will probably want me to have this person higher, but at number five, I've got Rachel. And this was really prime Rachel. I don't care what nobody say. She played a really good game, and it's just really the what if factor that's really heavy about this one, man. The what if factor is crazy. I discussed it in my midseason power ranking. Like the what if factor is crazy. Rachel has so many avenues. It's so possible that she could be able to get it done. She could work with Keanu. She could work with the judges. She could carry both to a certain point. Just long as she just keeps people locked in, there's a lot of potential for her to get this done. It's just the fact that with the White Locust twist happening so early, I can't put her higher because it was still so much like that was possible. Vince wasn't fully loyal to her. The judges wasn't a fully real alliance. I think it was only really real to Morgan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And then you have Lauren, who won the next HOH, who probably would have put her up. Like, you had a lot that was going on that could have affected Rachel's chances moving forward. So I can't put her too high because she was a huge threat and people were targeting her. But she also had some good alliances and she also was scary and no one wanted to put her up. And at number four, I've got Vinny, man. I got Vince. He was my winner pick from the mid season, and I thought he was gonna get it done. But he had terrible jury management. His perception control and decision making were terrible. His feelings for Morgan truly got in the way. Don't care what nobody says. I think a happier, less depressed version of a single, happier, less depressed version of Vince probably wins the game and plays extremely impressively. He was thinking with the wrong head. It's just that simple. Bro was thinking with the wrong head. And it is what it is. He still played an insane social game. He had Riley, Kelly, Keanu, Morgan, Lauren, Zach, and even Jimmy that had final twos with him. He also honestly had a decent relationship with Will and Adrian, and especially early. And I think if he pushed harder for them not to go up, it's possible they wouldn't have went up. I also think that if he pushed harder to get Adrian to stay, that he could have got Adrian to stay and got Will out. If him and Zach really pushed harder, it could have happened. But at the end of the day, they didn't. Terrible jury management, and that's why he is at number four. He is a really good player. I think he played a solid game. And at number three, I've got Will. I think Will was probably the most screwed by Rachel going to White Locust. He for sure wouldn't have been viewed as huge of a threat that he was if she would have still been there. She would have never taken the heat off of him. And I think that Ashley would have been on the block next to Rachel instead of Will. So all the magic she worked would have worked on Rachel instead of Will. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he played an insanely great social game. He was really close with Rachel, Morgan, Ava, Ashley, Mickey, and Adrian. And he did a really good job at not pissing anybody off. And his likability is what makes him such a good player to me and made his game so impressive. I just wish he was more active because I think if he was more active, he possibly could have stayed over Ashley. And I think that is his biggest downfall as a player, not his competition ability, actually his activity in the game. And at number two, I've got Ashley. She created the judges, bounced back after being in danger week one by winning the veto. Her shower length was exaggerated a bit, but and then she also won the final HOH. And I will also say that she played hard every week she needed to. Yes, early in the game she was sloppy socially, and a lot of that was deliberate, but a lot of it was too much. I have to say that a lot of it was too much, and I definitely debated on having her lower on the list. If I was just doing this based on player, like skill in the game, she would for sure be lower than Will, Vince, and probably Rachel. But at the end of the day, we got to go by what game she played. I would argue that post week one, she had a masterful social game with the women. A lot of the time, it was just people like Mickey and Morgan low key wanting to hate, even though early she was hating on Morgan. And that has to go into it too. We have to take into account the negative parts of her social game that would have her lower if this is a player ranking. But since this is a gameplay ranking, her overall gameplay just was better than everybody else. Rachel and Will is a big what if there, but Ashley played a better game than both of them. That also led to her getting the jury votes at the end. So I got to give Ashley credit there. Good job, Ashley. And that number one, I've got Morgan. She played a borderline dominant game. You could argue that it was dominant. I see the argument. She was really good in physical comps, good in endurance comps, decent in mental, good socially, extremely active strategically from from day one. And she was one win away from winning the game, orchestrated Mickey and two of Vince's two, well, maybe three, but two definitely of Vince's HOH. He also wanted Zay out on his first one, pushed hard for it, and that's what happened. She was a huge part of the judges. She was the main contributor to them winning challenges and making it so deep in the game like they did. And she was the most gung-ho about the judges, so she's able to make her big alliance gets the not big, but her favorite alliance gets the end. She also went on such a historic streak that it became basically impossible to get her out from like the final seven on, and it also became well, like the final eight or final nine on. Then it also became kind of impossible to get Ashley out of the game because she was winning all of the HOHs. I mean, all the vetoes, and Vince winning all the HOHs. They were swapping HOHs. So I give her all that credit in the world for getting Ashley so deep in the game so Ashley can get the win. You know, a little bit of credit also given to Vince being a goofball, but she also had Vince, wrapped around her finger. Now, how much of that was fully deliberate and actually gameplay? I don't know. I think a lot of it was her actually maybe having a little bit of feelings for Vince and her and Vince actually having a cheat match going on. But it is what it is. Morgan definitely played the best game on this season. And you guys let me know what y'all think in the comments. Who you guys think actually played the best game in the season? If it's Morgan, if it's Vince. And do you guys think that the jury was bitter? How do y'all feel about that? How do you guys feel about Ashley as a winner in general? Yeah, y'all let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Push the notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop a new lit banger. And I will do my best to make sure that my audio is never this low quality. Peace.